All right, guys, what is good? Quick announcement. This week, we're going to be going into the NFC South. We're going to be talking about all three of the teams that we're going to be going up against in the NFC South, basically giving an assessment of all three of the teams post-draft and see how we stack up against them. Today, we're going to be talking about the Buccaneers, and we're going to talk about the other two teams later on in this week. So it's going to be really interesting how things look very early on paper. Hopefully you guys enjoy this, and I will see you in the episode. All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 575 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. Still not much going on the Georgia Southern front. I mean, you know, it's pretty much a downtime after the spring game, so nothing is really going on there. So basically, we're going to talk more Atlanta Falcons. And since the dust is kind of settling a little bit with free agency, I want to talk about the other teams that we're going to be facing in the NFC South, because that's our division. That's going to be the place where we basically going to make the playoffs. The playoffs going to run through winning the division. I mean, you can still make the playoffs by not winning the division, but that's where, that's the goal. That's what you want to do. So before I get into that, I want to talk about Trey Flowers really, really quick. Not much to really go off on there. Signed a 1-year deal. His best year was in Seattle, where he had like 3 picks and like 60-something tackles. He actually had 1 pick for the Bengals last year. 6'3", 200 plus, big physical cornerback. Probably going to be taking the place of Isaiah Oliver. Looked like the best nickel corner we got right now, in my opinion. So, we got Jeff Okudah, we got Hughes, we even drafted Phillips out of Utah. Still got AJ Terrell, but I think as far as the nickel corner, that might be our guy. And probably be a guy that's going to be able to not only play nickel, but probably play some defense against some of the tight ends that are on the opposition throughout the league. So, very, very good pickup. This team is pretty much is pretty stacked. A lot of people don't want to talk about the Falcons like that, but it's the truth. A lot of good transactions. The question mark is still with the quarterback, but I think Desmond Ridder's going to be fine. So enough of that. Just wanted to cover that really quick. Let's talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If this is your first time here, welcome. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. I'm also on firstandframerates.com. Check out the website. Hopefully you guys will check that out. Also, I am on Twitter at VFBaller, where I talk about things that don't make it into the show. And last but not least, I want to thank you guys for the support. Numbers were crazy last week. I cannot thank you guys enough. You guys are absolutely amazing. And hopefully the support will continue, because I'm going to try to bring the best content possible when it comes to Atlanta Falcons and Georgia Southern football. I love both of these teams. I love talking about them. And hopefully, like I said, bring the best content possible. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers haven't done much, just to be honest. They converted a lot of contracts on guys who were, basically staples of their team. So they're trying to keep them around a little bit longer. Guys like Carlton Davis, Vita Vea, Russell Gage, Chris Godwin. They converted a lot of that money so they have more cap space, voided some years off the contract. They did make one big, extension to Jamel Dean, which was their cornerback, 4-year deal for $52 million. Everybody else was like, not much. Levante David was signed for 1 year. They did get rid of Leonard Fournette, but they end up signing Chase Edmonds to a 1-year deal. So their running back situation is a little bit shaky. Now, what's actually interesting is their quarterback situation. They got Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask. So that's one of those guys going to be QB1. What does that mean for the team? Well, I'm not going to say that that's the end-all, be-all, because they do have some weapons on the outside, like a Russell Gage, Chris Godwin, and I haven't even talked about Mike Evans. So they have some weapons out there. As far as us going against them, we should, based on what I see on paper, and that's basically what this whole thing is about, I believe that we should be able to have a much, much better success against this team than last year. Now, last year, we were neck and neck with them pretty much on both accounts. We all know what happened with the situation with Tom Brady and Grady Jarrett, the roughing the passer situation, which was that was wild. And then the next game when it's kind of like a preseason game where all the players kind of like separated as far as their talent. And, Desmond Ridder did play pretty well. I think that was probably one of his bigger games out of the 4 games he played. But nevertheless, we did get the win. And it's something to going into next season, which was, that is a confidence builder for a guy like Desmond Ridder, a guy like Drake London, rookies that are actually going out there and make some plays. So in their second year, I'm looking at this team as, this team is a little bit older as far as the Buccaneers. They don't have their general in Tom Brady, and I don't trust Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask. To be quite honest, I probably would think that they'll probably put more faith in Kyle Trask, which I think he probably would be more of a threat against the Falcons than Baker Mayfield. But nevertheless, with that being said, our front seven should be able to do some things with these guys going up, their front, five, the front offensive line. They did sign Aaron Kinney. They did release some players. And for the most part, their draft picks will kind of show that they needed help in the trenches. We're going to look at the draft picks real quick. They did get Kalijah, I think I said that right, Kalijah. Yeah, can't see from Pitt, defensive tackle for the first round. Second round, they went with Cody Mock, an offensive tackle out of North Dakota State. They went right back into the defensive side of the trenches and get Yaya Dobby from Louisville. And you kind of got the gist of what they're trying to do. They're trying to, build things from the trenches. Also got the linebacker from Pittsburgh, Servica Dennis. And they basically was able to, get a pretty decent size of, a decent variety of picks in this. With these picks that they got some variety of players. Like I said, they ended up getting a defensive back, Josh Hayes from Kansas State, Payne Durham from Purdue, also Trey Palmer from Nebraska, which I think, to be honest, he could be a difference maker on this team. Because Trey Palmer, I watched him play against us when Georgia Southern played, Nebraska earlier this year. He was actually pretty decent. So for him to go there, that could be somebody that they may try to implement in the offense. And at the end of the 6th round, 196, pick 196, they got Jose Ramirez from Eastern Michigan, edge rusher. So when you look at everybody that they re-signed, the offensive line the way it is with Ryan Jensen and all the other guys that they have on this team, I don't see much here to hang your hat on and say, hey, these guys could be, a threat. The passing game should be okay. I think Kyle Trask should be QB1 in my opinion. I don't think Baker Mayfield is going to be the guy. I will be extremely surprised. As far as the tight ends go, I don't see anything out there that jumps out as well. That's probably why they did get Durham out of Purdue. So I'm sitting here looking like this team is basically starting over. They do have a decent offensive line. They did get some offensive line help with the guy from North Dakota State. Don't know if he's going to be playing right away. But when I look at what they have compared to what we have, our front seven with our new defensive coordinator should be able to give this team fits. So as far as what I see on paper at this moment, this is extremely early, but I feel like the Falcons should be able to put some pressure on these young quarterbacks. Well, Baker Mayfield's not necessarily young, but at times he plays like he's young. But if he's not in the game, I think Kyle Trask could be the guy that we could rattle. Baker Mayfield is easily rattled as well. So pick your poison, or pick the death of 1,000 cuts. Which one you want to go out at? You want to go with the guy that's not in much experience, or a guy who plays with like he don't have much experience? So as far as the trenches go, we should be able to dominate that. I don't see nothing in their running game that will actually do anything as well. Their running game, like I said, Leonard Fournette's not there anymore. You have these running backs that are coming in that are, basically Chase Edmonds was signed. Looking at the other guys that are okay, but I don't see anything that stands out there as well. Rashad White, Patrick Laird, Keyshawn Vaughn. I don't see anything there. I think as far as their undrafted free agents that they got, even there, they didn't even pick up a running back there. So it's going to be really interesting to see what goes on, with this situation. I'm not necessarily sure how they're going to run the ball. Maybe they know something we don't know. Maybe somebody will emerge out of that running back camp. But when you look at our front seven and the guys that we signed, I mean, we signed so many guys up there on the defensive side of the ball, that front seven, we could overwhelm this team. So I don't see much there that's really going to, do anything. So I feel like the Falcons should be one step ahead of the Buccaneers, especially after falling back after losing Tom Brady and a couple other veterans. So that's the way I feel about that. And this pretty much is going to be somewhat of a series. So I'm basically going to be talking about the Buccaneers. Next episode, I'm going to jump over to the Carolina Panthers, and then we're going to finish off with the Saints for the rest of this series. But I feel like the NFC South is ours for the taking, and right now I'm just talking about how we can get past the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So we're going to get in, that's how we're going to start it off. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you like this commentary, the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know what you guys think. I think that we can get Tampa Bay. I think we can, so hopefully that will work out. I am really, really excited about this season, especially with all the things that we've been doing. The trade, the new signing that we did earlier today with the cornerback. I think that's going to be awesome. It just feels really good right now with the Falcons. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble, also on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, Google Podcasts. Let me know what you guys think. Hit that like button. Share this podcast. Let people know what we're doing over here. We're edging towards 1,400 subs. I can't thank you guys enough. I really can't. I cannot thank you guys enough. I'm going to get up out of here. Thank you guys once again. Y'all take it easy and y'all be blessed. Peace.